So surely the government would have negotiated a jobs guarantee for every single Canadian Stellantis employee. Will they release that guarantee and the entire contract so Canadians know where their dollars went?
The Honourable Minister of Industry.
Mr. Speaker, of course, what Stellantis announced for the Brampton plant last week was completely unacceptable. And Stellantis has made solemn commitments to this government and to their workers, and they need to honor their commitments. And that's why we will hold them to account. While my colleagues are just right now talking, we already know that in committee we said that we would agree to the protection of documents. Thank you.
The Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
Mr. Speaker, surely Stellantis would not be announcing that it is moving a 3,000-worker plant to the United States of America if this government had negotiated job guarantees in that contract for $15 billion. To put this into perspective, $15 billion is $1,000 for every single family in Canada that was supposed to create jobs. So, simple yes or no question. Is there an ironclad guarantee of every single worker's job here in Canada in exchange for that $15 billion handout?
The Honourable Minister of Industry.
Mr. Speaker, let me be extremely clear. We will fight for these jobs because Canadian auto workers are the best auto workers in the world. And we will make sure that Stellantis face all consequences, including legal ones. That being said, an hour ago, I met here in Ottawa with the head of Canadian Stellantis, with the head of Unifor, and also with the Minister of Economic Development of Ontario. We're one strong team, Canada, and we will make sure that these jobs stay in Brampton.
The Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
Mr. Speaker, still no answer. It was the Finance Minister, the present-day Finance Minister, who is in charge of a $500 billion forthcoming Liberal budget that was the one who signed this deal. And amazingly, barely 2 years after he signed it and forked over 15 billion Canadian tax dollars, the company receiving it is moving the jobs to the United States of America. That minister claims she might take legal action. She can't do that unless there's actually a job guarantee. So will she tell us, yes or no, does every Canadian Stellantis worker have a job guarantee?
The Honourable Minister of Industry.
Mr. Speaker, when this government negotiates contracts, they're good ones. And so my colleague will have the chance to see these contracts. That being said, we will make sure to put full pressure on the company. These jobs need to stay in Brampton. These jobs need to stay in Canada. And ultimately, the future of the auto sector is bright, and we'll continue to fight for it.
Mr. Genuous. Welcome to meeting number 8, the House of Commons Standing Committee on Government Operations Estimates, known as the mighty OGGO committee. So nice they named it twice. Meeting request pursuant to Standing Order 1064 to discuss a request to undertake a study of Stellantis pursuant to a Standing Order 1064. Committee is meeting to consider the request by members of the committee to undertake a study of Stellantis. The request was distributed by the clerk last Friday. Mr. Genuous, you have your hand up. Go ahead. We'll start a speaking list. Ms. Sudds.
It's important to underline that this is a company, Stellantis, that has gotten over $10 billion in subsidies from taxpayers. And yet, in spite of those subsidies, is announcing killing over 3,000 Canadian jobs, sending them south of the border. We know that the Trump administration has met with the Prime Minister last week, and yet less than a week after that meeting, we have more announcements of more jobs getting killed in Canada and sent across the border. So, as we fight for Canadian jobs, it is important to know what exactly were in these contracts signed between the government and Stellantis that led to these subsidies. In the process of forking over billions of dollars to these companies, did the government negotiate as part of these contracts the protection of Canadian jobs or not? This is what we need to know. to hold the appropriate people accountable. And the question for the government is, will they support our efforts to get to the bottom of what happened here by helping us get these contracts, or will they act to block the exposure of these contracts? So we're going to move a motion today ordering to this committee these contracts. And I am confident that a majority of members of this committee want to see these contracts. But it will be up to the government whether they work with other parliamentarians to help us fight for Canadian jobs, or whether they run interference on behalf of this company. If the government cares about Canadian jobs, I hope they will come with us, work with us, and we will see how they respond. Our motion, Chair, is as follows: that an order to issue for the production of copies of any contract, memorandum of understanding, or any other agreement entered into by any minister, department, agency, or Crown Corporation of the Government of Canada since November 4th, 2015, related to the manufacture of automobiles at the Brampton Assembly Plant in Brampton, Ontario, with any of Stellantis N.V., Stellantis North America, FCA US LLC, Stellantis Canada Inc., FCA Canada Inc., Fiat Chrysler Automobile N.V., Nexstar Energy Inc., Volta Energy Solutions Canada Inc., any of those companies' subsidiaries, or any other company which are not at arm's length from those companies, provided that these documents shall be deposited with the clerk of the committee within 2 weeks in both official languages and without redaction.
Ms. Hutz.
Thank you very much, Chair, and happy to be here today to discuss such an important issue to Canadian taxpayers. I appreciate that the motion was circulated this morning and has just been read in. I would like to propose or table an amendment to the motion. It has been forwarded to the clerk in both official languages, but we might want to, I can read it out in the meantime while we distribute it to the committee. Sure. So the amendment is simply at the end of the existing motion to remove "and without redaction" and to add. Sorry, I'm just getting it up on my screen here. So as I said, at the end of the current motion, to remove "and without redaction" and to add, and that the departments and agencies tasked with gathering these documents apply redactions to protect cabinet confidences, respect privacy legislation, and protect sensitive commercial interests.
So we'll start with Mr. Generous. I'll give you a few moments before it comes out. This is a very, very small room, and I think we normally have some banter back and forth, but just keep in mind it's a very small room. You'll speak after Mr.
Yeah. Chair, we've been through this rodeo before, and I'm sorry to see the government proposing an amendment that would effectively undermine the entire objective of this motion. This motion is to order the contracts full stop so that we can get to the bottom of why 3,000 jobs are being killed, more than 3,000 jobs, in spite of the billions of dollars in taxpayer subsidies. And the Liberals are putting forward an amendment which would effectively give them wide discretion to redact from these documents, and it would give them the discretion to do that. The proposed for redactions are not redactions that would be done by independent entities. Their proposal gives full discretion to the government to redact what they want, using fairly broad room for justifications. This would prevent the committee from actually scrutinizing the contracts as they are. Now, let me underline, Mr. Speaker, that Mr. Chair, that the motion we put forward does not call for the immediate release of these contracts. It calls for the full contracts to be given to the committee. The committee would have then reasonable discretion and would, I believe, use its powers responsibly to look at what's in these contracts, to consider the various issues and implications of releasing information and releasing information to the degree that is appropriate. What the Parliamentary Secretary has proposed is to prevent the committee, even in private, from having access to this information. Now, I'll make a few points with respect to this. As members know or should know, committees' powers to send for documents are limitless. The Privacy Act contains specific exemption language exempting documents that are ordered by a body such as this. And again, the other issues could be taken into the consideration, likely would be taken into consideration by the committee when deciding what and how to release these documents. But parliamentarians need to see these documents in order to do their work properly. So I'm disappointed that not entirely surprised, but disappointed that Liberals are putting forward this amendment, which would effectively neuter this motion. We are opposed to this amendment, and we will continue to fight for Canadian jobs by seeking the full unredacted documents without giving the government the discretion to redact whatever they feel like. Thank you.